Hello community, so this time I want to talk about the PlayStation 4. This has been, quite frankly, one of the most interesting, going into an interesting generation war that we've had in a while. And when you see the details of the fact that Sony cut the PlayStation 4 camera off the console, and that they went to the retailers and said, only told the retailers, hey, guess what, this camera is not going to be on the console. But they didn't tell them they were changing the price, so that Microsoft wouldn't get an inkling that they were changing the price, so that they could have a lower price on their console than Microsoft. Because again, the one thing you don't understand is that these companies talk to retailers. They both had an idea what their prices of their consoles were going to be, initial prices before they announced them. So Microsoft, Sony did this so Microsoft thought, hey, you know what, our consoles are going to be the same price. You know what? And they're losing their camera too, and we're going to have a camera. It's going to be great. Now, granted, the truth of the matter is that the controller, the PS4 controller, has a screen in the middle. That camera was supposed to heavily, use that screen. So in some ways, it's limiting what that screen could do. But overall, this was a good thing for me as a gamer because I don't want a camera on my console. I want the option to buy the camera. This is my problem with the XBoxOne and the Kinect, is that I want the option to decide whether I want something that could hear my voice or watch me. That's an option. I don't want it to be forced on me. Just like it's smart that Sony decided to cut that, and that they are going to release it later on down the road, and that it's going to rely on software to make you want to buy it. Whereas like the Kinect, okay, so it's connected to the system. That doesn't mean there's ever going to be a good game for it. I don't care that the developers are guaranteed they can make games for it. How many games for the Kinect are actually good this generation? Motion gaming didn't turn out what everybody thought it would be. It was almost like a fad, right? Last generation, you had the Wii, you had the Kinect. We all bought on board thinking, oh, this is a cool future. And then you play them for a while and go, you know what? I just want to go back to playing my games on a controller. These are cool, sure, there's certain games on the Wii you love to play, Wii Sports, but overall, kind of a gimmick. A lot of times it didn't add anything to the game. It a lot of times only made it harder to play the game, not easier. And the truth is, a controller allows almost everybody the ability to play a game. Motion control makes people have to be good or physically good to do a game. So in a sense, you're limiting the amount of your audience that can actually be good at your game. So I'm glad they cut, again, the PS4i, because that's what they've always called their camera on the PlayStation, and then the main on the software. So if the software is good, people will buy it. Now, of course, these websites are all about how the PS4 camera is going to doom to die, and that this was, they're all they're upset. I always laugh at these journalists because they're like, they see this technology and they want it to happen, not realizing that the people who are going to buy it don't want it. That the gaming public you're trying to sell this product to don't want to be forced to have a camera on their system. And it's a smart move by Sony that, you know what, my system is lower than yours. Because when I go to retail, and let's just take third parties, because they're probably going to be the same, be little differences. I'd give the edge actually to Sony with first party titles. And when I'm sitting there looking at it, I go, well, this one over here has no camera that or doesn't listen to me all the time, and it has great games, and it's $100 cheaper. Well, here's this one over here. It has a camera on it. It's $100 more. I'll go with this one over here. And that's what it comes down to. It was a great move by Sony. It's great how they wanted to get back to being competitive and not starting off with a bad start, so they did a lot of things for this to happen. This has been rather interesting how this console war started out. And it'll be even more interesting because at some point, Microsoft's obviously going to answer more and do other things. So these two guys are going to obviously be competing. Though I don't know how bad the publicity is going to hurt the Xbox One. Anyway, so what do you think about the fact that Sony cut the PS4 camera? Are you happy that they cut it? Do you even care that it has a camera on your system in the first place? I mean, there's always been a camera from the PlayStation 1 on, and most of the time, while those games looked fun, there was never a killer app to make me buy it, or a killer game. And I think that's what has to happen. That it shouldn't be, this is on a system so you buy it. It should be, you need to give me a game so that I want to buy your product. Anyway, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, and I will see you next video.